Well, hello and welcome to the Strategy Room interview series. I'm your host, Pete Lawson, and today I'm joined by Eileen Rogers. Eileen is the CEO of One Creative View, been there for over 12 years, but been in business in excess of 40 years, had a successful printing company, which won awards, etc., etc. And Eileen is now putting her time back into the community, helping leaders, executives, etc., to get on with their life and enjoy it. Eileen, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you
Thank you
like
for having me.
the pleasure? Would you just like to kick off with a brief background on who you are, what you do, and a little bit about your journey of where you started and where you sit in the chair right now? Over to you.
Yes, yes. Well, it's a journey of almost 65 years, so I'll be very brief. But,
Started at 10.
huh?
You started at 10.
Yes, thank you. No, I came out to Arizona to go to get my master's in business and thought I was going to go work for a big corporation. And as life often throws us twists, I didn't. I walked into a small print shop and essentially never left, and actually bought it and built it into a multi-million-dollar facility, and had a team and a wonderful partner who I transitioned and sold the business to. So something I'm really proud of, that I'm still friends with my partner. Prior to our buyout plan, we were approached for an acquisition. And while I knew the buyout was coming, I hadn't really started thinking about what was next for me. So I thought, okay, transition coaching. So I have always had a coach in my business career, and I've always been a member of CEO forums and things like that to keep my knowledge, and just to learn from other people. And it was during that transition process that I was trying to refer a client to my coach, and he just looked at me and said, "Eileen, when are you going to coach people?" And I just broke out in a big smile, and I just was kind of laughing, and I said, "Well, if I were going to do that, what advice would you share?" And that was essentially my journey. What he gave to me, though, was the difference between an intention and a goal. And in that moment, when I left his office, he had challenged me to tell the next 10 people that I met at a networking event, introduce yourself as a coach and that you own a printing and marketing company, and see what they say. Because I had all those doubts of, oh, if I'm going to be a coach, I need to go to school, I need to do this, I can't do this. And of course, no one ever said anything bad or where's your certificate? Where'd you go to school? They just said that was great. And so that's when I learned an intention is something that you set and you live into, and it's a place you live from. And I was a coach from that day moving forward.
Okay, well, my first question was going to be was what actually inspired you to become a business coach? I sort of got that one. But anyway, Eileen, this would be a great question for you and for the viewers as well, because we've got a lot of business coaches around the world that view this podcast. What do you define as success in your coaching practice?
It's an interesting question because success is a feeling and it only exists in our limbic brain. And that's why we have such a hard time describing it. We describe milestones and achievements, but I describe success as dancing with my dog.
Okay.
So it's that feeling when a client leaves my office and you can just see that they've been transformed. You feel as though you've been a part of it. And I literally used to dance with my dog. It bursts out. That's success to me. You've really transformed or shifted the way someone thinks, and their life is going to be different moving forward, or their business.
Okay. So can you share a time, though, when things didn't go as planned in your coaching journey? And what was the lesson learned from that?
Well, I had a mentor coach, a friend of mine who started this journey earlier than I did. And one of the things she said two things. Don't ever coach a friend, and don't ever coach someone that you don't like and respect. And I think the challenge for coaches starting out is, you want any business, right? You're somehow in that sort of needy spot. And I took a client and didn't really connect, and it was painful. I'm so glad that it happened because I've never done it again.
Mm.
And I just didn't really respect their values and ended up stopping our engagement, gave them their money back. And it was a good lesson. You need to respect the people that you're working with and like them.
Well, as they say, when you start a business, you take on anybody that fogs a mirror.
Yes, yes.
I agree. Okay, so in your experience, what's the hardest part of being a business coach, and how do you navigate around that?
Well, I think the hardest part for me, I can speak to, is really being present. Being present, being silent and quiet, and really being able to listen to what people aren't saying as much as what they're saying. I know when I started out, I used to think I would have to have the $1 million question, right? Everybody's got to have it. And the more I could be present and I could relax, I could just lean into knowing what the right present was, or the right question, excuse me. So it's really about trusting yourself. And that comes with practice, comes with screwing it up, apologizing if need be, cleaning it up, and starting all over again.
Well, that leads me into the next question. What's the most important lesson you've learned from your clients?
From my clients? That's a really good question. I think what I've learned from my clients kind of goes back to the answer to the other question, that if the longer I'm quiet, the longer I can be silent and respect their internal processing, that clients are brilliant, right? My job is just to open the door or shift the thought, and to really have them come up with their own answers.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Eileen, what we really know about the client's business, you could put on the back of a postage stamp, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it should stay. Because if you don't, the less you know, the better questions you ask.
Well, and that was hard for me because I love business. I have always loved business. It didn't have to be a printing business. And so, to tamp down that idea I have, or to tamp down that advice or something, I just learned that when I did that, there were just beautiful things that showed up.
Okay. So, looking back, what's one thing you wish you knew when you began coaching?
Well, I actually spent the first probably 3 years of my coaching journey learning it. And for me, it was being able to really understand the difference between coaching, consulting, facilitating, and therapy.
Man.
And really understanding which ones am I good at? Where do I want to stay away? There's just a lot of difference. And unfortunately, I see people who substitute mentor for coach and for all kinds of things. And so understanding what you really have to offer and what you're good at and where you have an impact, I think is important.
Well, that's fantastic. Eileen, that's all the questions I'm going to ask today. So I hope that wasn't too much today. You looked like you handled it pretty well. Done it before. But thank you so much for your time today, Eileen. It was great meeting you and learning about your entrepreneurial journey. It's not just a coaching journey, it's an entrepreneurial journey. And you look like you're still loving it too, by the way.
I am. Every minute. I pinch myself when I wake up in the morning. It's just, it's really nice. And I encourage anybody who wants to explore coaching as a way to create a life by design and not just have a life by default. So.
Love it. Okay. So we're going to wrap up there. So, and to everyone watching, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode and seeing you on the other side. And thanks again, Eileen. Signing off.
You're right. Take care, Peter.